The Geek Speak Show is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
Welcome to one of the longest-running geek culture podcasts.
What you talking about?
Of course, I'm talking about the Geek Speak Show.
You're still talking.
Henry San Miguel has been speaking geek since 2010.
Damn!
And he ain't shutting up anytime soon.
I'm sorry.
Now he has Emily Mata as the new co-host. And the nerdy Navajo, Shanclen, as well.
Oh, not everybody.
This is where you'll hear interviews with all the movers and shakers in geek culture, as well as from up-and-coming talent that you won't hear anywhere else. Ready? This is the Geek Speak Show with Henry San Miguel and Emily Mata.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Before we get the guest on for this week, I want to bring in Emily and Shanclen. Aho, young geek speakers. I want to bring you guys on because I want to go back. I want to get into DeLorean, go back to last week when we did the issues of the day. By the way, I do got to say seriously before we start getting goofy here, I do want to say congrats to the two of you. I got a lot of messages. People were sliding in my DMs, I guess is the way you say it. And I got a couple of emails about it too. They really, really liked the topics that you guys brought up. And especially with Shanclen, they said, thank you, number one. Two, they can't see him, obviously, but they were saying, I hope everybody listens to what Shanclen and Emily said. Deodorant, please, when you guys go to conventions. So you're not the only one that's noticed. I mean, kind of hard to miss the conf-funk when you're out there, but good points. Let me bring that up. But I want to go back, not to the conf-funk. I want to go back to the Emily's topic, actually, the nostalgia. Is there too much of it? We talked about that last week. Apparently, it made a big impression on a lot of people because I didn't tell you, Emily. I actually had some conversations with people off the air, not on social media or anything. Just talking to some people. And these are people that are actors, they are filmmakers. They agree. They agree that yes, there's too much nostalgia. I won't say everything that they said. I won't even say who they were, but they do agree that same thing. You guys brought up some good points. That actually is what I want to jump on. What I want to talk about here in this first segment, because that conversation with them actually led into another, to quote a certain Vulcan, fascinating conversation. And that was when we started talking about original stories, because everybody talks about original stories, what brings people to theaters, original stories. And I asked them, what does that look like? You mean, a couple of them are writers. What do you guys see as original stories? I'm not going to tell you what they said. I'll tell you that after, because I don't want to bias you guys. But that's what I want to talk to you two about. Because like I said, both of you represent, not the Lollipop Guild, you represent the future generations of creators. You will be making the next movies, TV shows, comic books, graphic novels, arts, books, perhaps. To you guys, when we say original stories, what does that look like to you, to both of you?
Something that's in the world of a world you haven't seen. So like that voice, like, in a world, but you haven't seen this world. It's a new world. You do a better, Henry.
In a world filled with original reboots.
No, but I agree with Shanclen. I think when it comes to original ideas, and that's where I was kind of like getting into a little bit of a funk, and I was really bouncing some ideas off the wall, because it's like, what is something that we've never seen before? You know, and whatever.
My finger is hovering over the button. We're going to give you a little inside of baseball. Before we started this, you guys didn't get to hear the musical, Emily. You just said funk. I almost played George Clinton or something funky over here, but I'm holding back. But go ahead, finish your thought.
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, what is something that would be original that you can't really necessarily compare it to, because when you bring up wizards, it's like, oh, Harry Potter. Or you bring up time machines and you go back to the future. Or you go, I don't know, transforming stuff. Transformer. Like, it's how do you step outside of these realms that have been sort of explored, but also still keeping it original? That's kind of like where I was thinking.
Wait. You know, you just gave me an idea. Those of you that have been here for almost 16 years, I think you know where I'm going with this. A long time ago. See, I can do that too. The stories say. It's actually not a story. It's recorded. You guys, it's in the archives. I think it was the 4th or 5th episode ever of the Geek Speak show back in season 1 when we were live 5 days a week. There was I forget who the guest was, but the guest was a no-show. Something came up and we had to reschedule. However, like I said, here, if something happens, we can make something up. When you're live, you can't sit there and plan something because it'll sound like this. So I had to come up with something live on the air. And what I came up with was this little game that I want to play with you guys. I'm going to take a break. Those of you that were there from a long time ago, you know what it is. It's going to be a little different this time. I'm going to explain the rules to Emily and Shanclen and during this little break. When we come back, as Anakin once said, this is where the fun will begin.
The Geek Speak Show will be right back.
As the nights begin to get longer, a little colder, and the calendar prepares to move into the fall, there will be a gathering.
A gathering of geeks, that is. Join us on Saturday, August 8th for the Geek Speak Expo. You'll hear and meet composers Jacob Yaffe and Rowan Hilton, Jeffrey Snow from Snowstorm Comics, panels highlighting 21st century creatives and women and their contributions to the comic book industry, plus cosplay demonstrations for kids and fencing. With lightsabers, there will also be some other surprises, but, you know, wouldn't be a surprise if I spoiled it, would it? The Geek Speak Expo is a new type of geek-themed event experience. Be among the first to experience it by joining us on Saturday, August 8th at Casa 723 in downtown Fullerton. This is an all-ages event and kids under 12 are free. Get your tickets today through Eventbrite or by visiting thegeekspeakshow.com.
So you've got the next big thing, eh? Pitch, please. Pitch. Pitch with a P. You got 15 seconds. Pitch, please.
Okay, that kind of explains a little bit what it's going to be. You two, you clear on what we're about to do here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pitch, please. So, it's good. We're going to call it that. It actually has a name this time. Let me set it up for everybody else. All of you that are listening. I'm going to play the role of a major studio CEO or executive. Basically, the one that says yes or no with the green light, whatever new projects we have. So this is going to be not even a pitch. Well, it's going to be a pitch meeting, but we're going to take the elevator pitch format. In other words, you got 15 seconds to sell me on this. If at any point when Emily and Shanclen, when they start explaining what their pitch is, if at any point it sounds like anything, even remotely close to anything that we've already seen or exists out there, they're going to get the... However, if I would interrupt them and they keep going, or at any point, if it blows my mind, they're going to get the obvious, because we're going to bankroll that idea and make it into a movie. So, we're not going to flip a coin. I'm thinking of a number. Give me a number, the two of you.
7.
17.
I was actually thinking of 7. So I guess that means
Yes!
Shanclen.
I get to be the first to become the first millionaire. Hell yeah. Okay.
I'm going to give you guys a freebie. Not you two. I'm talking about everybody listening. I know we have a lot of up-and-coming filmmakers. Here's a little clue. When you go into your first pitch meeting, rule number 1, do not sound overconfident. Just saying. But Shanclen, go ahead. What's
No,
your pitch?
fuck that. I'm going to use, I'm sorry. Screw that. Blasted. I'm going to use my size. I will get the movie deal. Okay. Mr. Director, sir, hello. My name is Shanclen, and I have a really great movie deal that's going to make you millions of dollars. Are you ready to hear it, sir?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I
keeping
can't
you
really
on
hear
your
the sound
toes.
effect. Okay. All right. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. This movie is about a space detective.
Wait.
Gosh.
I forgot one thing. One more thing. A little bit more pressure on you two. Like I said,
Okay.
15 seconds. Just to make sure it is 15 seconds. You go. 15 seconds.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This movie is going to be about a space detective in the near future where a mysterious death on a space cruise brings the detective out of retirement, and he has to hunt down the culprit. But the culprit is somebody is not who you think it is. I cannot read my own writing. I'm sorry, sir.
That well, it sounds like a few of them. It sounds a little bit like I mean, Emily, you've watched it. It sounds a little bit like Project Hail Mary. And what was the other one with Chris Pratt that they were stuck in the
No one was
rock or
murdered
something?
though.
No, that one sounds like another one from the 90s. Actually, it's
Right.
3 of them from the 90s.
It kind of sounds like Blade Runner, to be honest.
Yeah, a
Well,
little bit of
it's
that too. I could see that.
Yeah.
It's like a space detective who's retired and is trying to enjoy a cruise, but like he's like the only law enforcement on the ship in space.
I heard it before. No.
Mm.
Emily, what you got?
Alrighty.
Wait,
Hello,
wait.
Mr.
Here's your 15 seconds. You ready?
Okay. A former outlaw turned bounty hunter who survives a vampire attack years ago, but half of the town thinks they're crazy. The other half of vampires are trying to kill them before they seek out their revenge.
That was good. That was 15 seconds of an actual pitch. But, well, let me try it this way. I haven't upped you to, I promoted you to executive, but Shanclen, does that remind you of anything?
It does not,
Uh-oh.
unfortunately.
I'm going to have to greenlight something. Well, when you were saying, wait, say it again, the first part, Emily?
So the first part is a former outlaw turned bounty hunter who survived a vampire attack years ago.
See that part. It wasn't a vampire attack, but what was that one? The one with Thanos, Jonah Hex, I think it was called, where he wasn't a vampire, but he played basically an undead sheriff, sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminded me of that a little bit. Then the other part, for some reason, I don't even remember what it was called. Again, another movie from the 90s. Ice Cube actually was in it, and it wasn't as bad as War of the Worlds, believe it or not. But it was basically about that. It was about he was well, I guess it's like a sheriff, but he was some kind of Space Force thing, and he was hunting vampires, and he's hunted by the vampires, something like that. So, because of that, that's that one too. So let's go back to Shanclen. What do you got?
You're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one. Is there any way you could turn that up? I want to be able to hear that. Okay. Are you ready?
Wait, nobody can hear you. I think I just blew out everybody's ears. But go ahead.
Okay. This movie is going to be a parody movie on the new age of iPad kids turned into zombies due to too much radiation from iPads that brings the world to near extinction. Who survives or who is going to rule the world?
Netflix has something like that coming, in fact, next month.
Bullshit. Blasted. No way. No way. Really?
Yeah, actually, what month is this? This month. You'll see very soon. Emily, what do you got?
Ooh, good question, because I only just came up with one. So let me think. I'm trusting. I was really bouncing up stuff because I was like, okay, original ideas, pitching, but also stuff that I want to keep for myself too. I came up with a lot of good stuff. I'm like, oh, let me keep that. So this is gonna keep me really on my feet. Okay.
See, it's a good thing
Good
you were doing
question.
music before we started, because you're gonna have to do a lot of dancing right now to come up with something.
Good question, because I also thought too. I'm thinking about a character that I once did, so I'm just gonna throw that in there. I guess the timer starts now. I guess I don't know. Maybe.
No.
Actually, I just came up with something now. I couldn't.
Okay, we'll go. I'll let it in. You guys can hear it. You, the audience, can hear it.
Cool.
But the timer starts now.
Awesome. So I just came up with something right now. Assassin turned barista, but every time that a new person walks in, they gather so much information based off their coffee order, now seeking out to see if those people are the people that they need to hunt down. That was it.
That one is I'll give a half cha-ching, a cha, I guess, only because the second part does sound like a cartoon, actually. I forget what it's called, but it came out a while ago. The first part does intrigue me. So, see, this is what you want. What you want in the pitch is you want them to ask questions and you want them to call you back and say, okay, tell me more. Tell me more about this stuff. As long as you get them hooked, that's it. So, Emily, that's one for you. Shanclen, you want to try again to try to hook me on one?
I ain't going to hook you. You're just going to give me your wallet after I tell you this one right here.
That's called stealing.
This is the one that you need and what the audience needs. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. No, wait. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay. No.
Now I'm ready.
Okay. A world catastrophe happens onto the world where earthquakes rock the entire planet and giant cracks open up inside of the earth. Ghosts of hell rain up from the center of the earth and try to attack people, but they find out they only attack the homeless people. They find out that the secret plant that is the thing that kills the demons is marijuana. So the homeless people have a weapon and a chance to fight against demons from hell. See, like my type of movies would be great for Tubi, okay? Everyone would love me on Tubi.
Well, you're describing a bunch of things. The first thing you're describing is life in San Francisco. I should know. It used to be mine. That's the first thing. The second thing, you're describing a 21st century Cheech and Chong movie. The third thing you're describing,
but with demons.
What?
But with demons.
Yeah, that is a Cheech and Chong movie, but all of a sudden, for some reason, they're in a Conjuring movie. So you got a mix of all those three.
Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Half of America.
See, half, but that's still half of. That's like if you sell $10 a ticket, 300,000 people in the U.S. or 300 million people, 150 million, $10 a pop. That's 1.5 billion. Don't question my math. Just go with it.
You keep threatening to steal my wallet. That's pretty much what you're going to do, because a movie like that, if you're thinking that way, half of you get back half of the budget. I don't want half of the budget. I want the whole budget. And to quote another movie, playing with my money is like playing with my emotions. You don't want to do that.
Here's a sweet part. I can do it for you for $10K. We make $1.5 billion, and I can make it with $10K.
Here's the even sweeter part. I can do it free using AI.
Damn it.
No, but we'll end it there. We can literally go. We did it. When was it? 16 years ago. We did it the entire show. And I imagine doing that kind of like what we did here, but live, really live. Like we can stop if we needed to. We may have stopped and edited something. We can't do that when you're live. So it's up there. If you guys want to hear what we did there, it actually got a little bit funny. It was pretty similar to what you guys, especially the last one Shanclen just did. For some reason, a lot of the ideas that people have for original movies, they turn out to be Cheech and Chong movies for some reason. Everybody came up with something similar.
I want all you listeners out there, if you would see these movies, let Henry know in the DMs and the emails.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point I was trying to make with all of this is it wasn't to show that Emily and Shanclen can't come up with original ideas. It was, we can't deny the fact that our entertainment, our stories, they can no longer be original. Different, maybe, but not the true definition of original, what original means. We humans, we've been on this planet for such a long time at this point, and if you think back from the time of cave drawings, stories told and shared out loud, written books, and of course now we have film, television, streaming, social media, YouTube, all of that. We've just about seen it all at this point. Even stories from other cultures, while they may seem original, they're really not. Different names, different locations, different people, But it's the same message. Sometimes that message is as simple as plain old good and evil, good versus evil. I know some of you are probably saying out loud, but wait, Henry, we've never had representation like we do now. Really? If you think that, you must be one of those newer humans, because those different stories from other cultures, they've been around forever. They really have. Those cultures didn't just pop out of the earth a couple of years ago. They've been around. The difference is we in America and the U.S., we were busy being wowed by Star Wars and Prince and Lost and Knight Rider and the MJs, Jackson and Jordan, all the things that are now being rebooted to notice or care about stories from other places. We were getting wowed by our own stories. It was original enough at that time. We do care about those stories now because, well, plain and simple, we're bored of the same stories over and over and over and over. These multicultural stories, guess what? We're going to get bored of those too. You're kind of seeing that a little bit, quite honestly. You're going to get bored of the trauma and the characters and their struggles. You're going to be wanting uplifting stories where the good guys do win and the bad guys do die. Not where the villain's villainy is explained by they're misunderstood, they had a bad background, whatever it is. Sometimes evil is just evil, and that's just the way it is. My point is, all of this game, all of this is to point out that pendulum that David Glanzer from Comic-Con, he spoke about this back in the very first episode of the Geek Speak show. He mentioned that how the everything in media is like a pendulum and has its upswing, but then ultimately comes back down. But what does a pendulum do? It comes right back up again. Right now, it's obvious we're in the downswing of that pendulum. What's next? God only knows. But Emily, Shanclen, and all of you younger creatives that are listening to me right now that are waiting in line patiently, and some of you not so patiently for your turn, it's going to be here sooner than you think. The real question isn't, are you ready? The real question is, okay, what have you got for me?
Henry?
Shanclen?
I'm going to do something that's going to make you so mad when you're a spirit. I will deliberately...
What, you're going to call me back?
I'm going to call you back to the theater because I'm a Mel Brooks He-Man for you. I'm going to make it a parody, and I'm going to just destroy it. And just, in the spirit world, I want you to come back and just try to fight me. You'll be able to tackle me then.
I can tackle you right now. I want to see.
The Geek Speak show will continue in a moment.
As the nights begin to get longer, a little colder, and the calendar prepares to move into the fall, there will be a gathering.
A gathering of geeks, that is. Join us on Saturday, August 8th for the Geek Speak Expo. You'll hear and meet composers Jacob Yaffe and Rowan Hilton, Jeffrey Snow from Snowstorm Comics, panels highlighting 21st century creatives and women and their contributions to the comic book industry, plus cosplay demonstrations for kids and fencing. With lightsabers, there will also be some other surprises, but, wouldn't be a surprise if I spoiled it, would it? The Geek Speak Expo is a new type of geek-themed event experience. Be among the first to experience it by joining us on Saturday, August 8th at Casa 723 in downtown Fullerton. This is an all-ages event, and kids under 12 are free. Get your tickets today through Eventbrite or by visiting thegeekspeakshow.com.
Ready for this week's guest? Good, because that's what's next on the Geek Speak show.
All right, we're back. So a couple of weeks ago, we were at Four Color Fantasies for Free Comic Book Day, and there are a lot of artists and writers. You've seen some of our videos. They were in attendance there, and one of those artists, they had a very interesting and wait for it. We did a whole segment on it, an original story idea. His name is Jeffrey R. Dean, and he's the creator, writer, and artist of Project HOLO, which was a free comic that introduces readers to his multiversal T.E.R.R.A. T.E.R.R.A. story which he's going to tell you about. I know you're asking, like, wait, what is it all about? Yeah, you're going to like this. Jeffrey, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, well, let's start there, actually, because this is going to get the story's going to get kind of complicated if we really get into all the multi-universal, everything else. So let me have you tell everybody, first of all, what is your story all about?
Yeah, so T.E.R.R.A. stands for, it's an acronym. It stands for the Tactical Empowered Response and Rehabilitation Agency. The first book is The Empowered Phenomenon, which introduces the audience to 4 kids, Alex, Yukio, George, and Aurora. And as they use their powers in 1947, Roswell, and reveal to the world that not only superpowers exist, but that any kid in the universe can, or not in the universe, but in the world can actually get it. It drastically changes the political landscape, and because it changes that landscape, huge consequences become, more apparent as you read on in the series and the franchise.
Yeah, when we were a couple of weeks ago, when we were at Free Comic Book Day, it was fun, and I didn't want to take up too much of your time because people were waiting to talk to you also. But now that you're here, it's just you and I. Nobody's waiting for your time. Now we can get into the details. Because first of all, how did you come up with the idea? Where did you get the idea for this story?
So originally I had written a very horrible story. I believe Brandon Sanderson says that every writer has a bad story. Mine happened to have been published in about, I want to say 2012. And the only similarity it actually had was the characters by name. I ended up getting the original idea after visiting Japan and getting pushed to really lean into my artistic side, as opposed to prior. I was I was in college for cell biology and biotech. So I've always had an interest in science fiction, superpowers, gods. And growing up Christian, I never quite understood the hierarchy of where everything kind of sat. You ask one side, they will say one thing. You ask another side, they will say something that's completely the opposite. And as I was going through life, I started to see a lot of connections. And those connections is what originally inspired me to think, well, we live in a universe of cause and effect. So there has to be some way, to string it all together. And I've sprinkled in some, real world details to kind of show that original intent and idea of everything, connecting. I think superpowers are super intriguing. And there are what makes me intrigued about them is that the original inspiration of characters like Spider-Man or let me try and think of another animal-based one, Gorilla Grodd, for example, are real animals. These are characters that were based off of real animals, and animals in themselves comparably have some pretty amazing abilities if we were to put them on paper, like the mantis shrimp punching underwater so fast that it actually creates vacuum bubbles and small bullet speed pops to help with its hunting. So superpowers in history has always super intrigued me. And specifically the World War II era has particularly piqued my interest. With Marvel being a huge inspiration, Captain America taking place in the 1940s, I felt was the most appropriate. Even Superman, I believe, was 1939.
Mm-hmm.
With it, so I thought that was the perfect doorway into a large universe.
Yeah, it's what I found interesting that you're basically saying that you're with your stories, you're asking the questions that you weren't really allowed to ask in the real world. So I found that interesting. You also, at Free Comic Day, it's on our video on our YouTube if you guys haven't seen it. You also mentioned that a dream that you had inspired this. How did the dream come into this?
So I kept dreaming of the climactic fight of the main character Alex fighting a creature. And for much of even writing the book itself, that creature was to me very enigmatic and very unknown, and it represents lies, manipulation, secrecy. And as I was researching more about the era, I started dreaming more about the UFO Roswell crash, and how I wanted to incorporate, gods, aliens, and superpowers in a single story.
Was that a one-time dream? Was it a recurring dream? Or
it was actually recurring. So like I would keep thinking about, like I would keep dreaming about the climax fight of the main character controlling weather and attacking the antagonist, and it would pester me until I was able, like, whether I was napping, whether I was going full on to sleep, and after having my visit in Japan and my friends finding out that, oh, I had this character in a super interesting background, they were like, you need to focus on that. Like, start your own studio, do that kind of thing. And when I got back from Japan, ever since then, I've just been focused on trying to play out that dream and bring it into fruition.
The dream part, that's what I found interesting. I wanted to get more into that Free Comic Day, but like I said, there were people waiting to talk to you. But now you can, so I want to get into that if you don't mind. Have you ever thought, why me? Why was I getting that dream and it turned into these stories? Have you ever thought about that or asked that question?
Sort of. So I would, for years now, as I've been working on this series, I would have synchronicities occur. I would think of something and be like, oh, this is the natural flow of this idea, follow that idea, and then I'd find something in the real world that would actually hint, and I'd be like, oh shit. I'm sorry, can I say that?
Yeah.
Be like, oh snap. It lined up a little too perfectly. In the aspects of not just how our world government went about it, but the secrecy around it. I heavily implore people to always research World War II history. That is when at least America substantially started lying to the public, and there's a lot of things that have quietly been declassified that have kind of given me this sense of resolution and vindication that that ironic dream is actually on the right actual track.
Yeah, it's been so quiet, these revelations, that a lot of people don't know. And yes, World War II is a big one, obviously, like you said, but also even in modern times. Like, for example, we've seen, a lot of us listening have lived through 9/11, or at least you remember it. You lived through 2020, what came with 2020. There are a lot of truths
not just
coming out.
9/11, but the Afghanistan war.
Yes.
And the lies and secrecy around why we went there as a country or military.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people probably know, or if not, I'm sure Jeffrey can tell you, I can tell you. If you start going to this stuff, you're going to go down the deepest rabbit hole you have ever gone down.
And it is, just to note, it is very, very easy to get caught up in false narratives.
Yeah.
And come to false conclusions because of those false narratives. It's you come across very interesting mentalities
Yeah.
and ideologies. When my research ended up pushing me into ufology, which in itself is a deeper rabbit hole in that of itself. But when you hit all the right notes, you start to see things, and when you see things, you can't unsee it, and it really makes you it forces you to reframe original beliefs
Yeah.
and ideas of what you thought were the case and everything. It wasn't on display at the free comic book day, but I have it's growing more than 151 pages on like lore maps, um potential histories of how of what we've found as like, in science, the undeniable histories of like Earth being like 4.5 billion years old, not 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Or like the irrefutable, like, history of like Pangea and or dinosaurs, things like that. But like squaring the peg, the round hole with that, and what our ancestors used to refer to these things as. Like, fun fact, dinosaurs is a very Western, uh, European terminology. But if you go over to Asia, they're dragon bones.
Yeah.
So it's all depends on perspective, and learning about these different perspectives is really the key to how I go about my writing. Making sure that I am locked in on who the story is about, but then the perspective that that character brings to the story.
Yeah, those of you watching on the video, you can see me. I'm smiling when as Jeffrey says that, because you and I, Jeffrey, we could probably do an entire series on all this stuff. I was when you mentioned ufology. I mean, I'll just put it this way: there is a reason why we're all of a sudden getting all of these shows, and there's a little movie coming out later this year from Steven Spielberg, of all people.
Highly advise watching it.
Yes. So, we can go on forever with this, but let's focus again on your stories. Let's stick with the dream one more time. Mm-hmm. Now that you are writing the stories and getting them out to the public, has the dream stopped, or did it still come to you?
They come and go, so it depends on where I am. I'd be lying if I hadn't said that there weren't times of anxiety of I need to write this, I need to write this. Recently, I haven't had any, like, recently, as in the last few months, I haven't had any dreams, but I've also been steadily going through the pace of book 3, which is less in the historical lens and more in the characters that I have set up, in everything, making sure that their stories are being told while still expanding. I know that book 5, very, very different. That one is going to be another deep history dive, and I think I have a strong confidence that that's when my dreams will start kicking in, when I'm doing these deep history dives and my mind starts to subconsciously make these connections.
Yeah, see, and I know with our audience for sure, but I know me, these are the kind of stories that I like, especially now that I get older, and like you said, you learn, your eyes are open to more things that you just took for granted when you were younger.
Yeah.
And that's why I was interested in talking to you about the dream, because I always say God always speaks to us, we just don't listen. I think this is an example of that, exactly that. For some reason, you were chosen to get, whatever the message is going to be out through a comic book, reaching a completely different audience than the typical the conspiracy theory people, the tinfoil wearing hat people. You're gonna reach a different audience with this, and I think you're seeing that already.
Yeah. I think a lot of the tinfoil hat people get a bad rep.
Yeah.
For when they do recognize something very real. The scientists disappearing is a perfect example of the tinfoil hat, seeing something until the public actually starts realizing, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
It,
No, I'm saying I know in this audience, I know there's probably some people right now listening to us rolling their eyes. You know, yeah, they're those kind of. Not really, because you got to ask yourself this question: when these conspiracy theories come out, like calling it a conspiracy, laughing at tinfoil, just using that term, tinfoil.
Mm.
You got to think. You got to ask, who started that? Where'd that come from? Who said they're crazy? Always follow the source. Is what I always tell people. But let's talk about Nexus Comics itself, because you when did you form? Did you form that first, or how did that work?
So originally, I started the story and writing my story in 2015, I believe. And 2 years later, I thought, all right, I'm ready. I publish, and as I'm rereading the comic and everything, I'm finding art mistakes, story beats that need to be, further explained. And I end up starting the business, the LLC, in 2017. And the particular goal for the LLC is to have a universe that is one fleshed out in the aspects of foundations, so that when you read our stuff, you know that magic exists or science stuff exists, science fiction, normal stories that don't have nothing to do with superpowers can exist. And this is also that I can invite other independent writers to have something on par of Marvel or DC, um, but not gatekeep to a specific thing, which is the point of the multiverse. If it doesn't fall in line with our narrative vision, that doesn't mean we don't want that attention, or want that creative idea to be with us. We wholly accept within the multiverse that there's a complete Earth that they can have complete fun with. If there's no superpowers, no superpowers, fine, totally okay. That is the joy of the multiverse when it's not being exploited for cash grabs. For me, it's not about the money. It's about elevating the creative IP makers, and instead of milking the IP for just for the cash grab. I think we have enough companies in the world doing that. I don't need to be one of them.
Yeah.
I think I'm a firm believer that good products sell themselves, and that I don't need to perpetuate a lie or, just focus on making a good product. And once that good product is out, then I can worry about the, pushing it however way I need to push so that they can actually give it the opportunity that I think that it earned.
Well, your story obviously is, I guess we can consider it the flagship, but at the risk of potentially flooding your inbox, are you reaching out to writers, artists, or how are you finding these new artists?
So I haven't reached out to, well, often for artists, my process is a bit different. So if an artist is sharing their stuff online, or if they're going to conventions, I often like going through Artist Alley and or the artist section of any convention and looking at how they do compositions, how they tell stories visually in their art. I have a lot more business cards of artists from conventions than I tend to reach out for artists online, especially in the age of AI. I value people that put in the work and are willing to grow their craft and aren't pigeonholing themselves to a certain.
I say this, you can take it if you want. I say in the like you said, in the age of AI, I say you want artists who create, not generate.
Right, right. Perfect example of how I think AI should be used is using AI to like maybe prompt and generate a mood board.
Yeah.
Completely okay. I think that that is a great way to find inspiration. Using it for artistic critique, I feel is a little wish-washy, only because AI looks for interaction, so it may not uh guide you in the right way because it's constantly going to tell you, well, maybe you should fix this. Or and then when you'll get to a point in AI where it will tell you to just completely start over. And it's a common thing that I think a lot of users of AI don't really highlight. It's really good at consensus opinion. Um, Not so good at creating because consensus is not great at creating. Perfect example is all the horrible movies made by different studios that was done but via board. The all the movies that nobody asked for,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like those are all done decision wise, like via a board, and it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think as more and more people use AI, AI benefits off of iteration, but there's only so many ways that you can iterate before you start repeating somebody else's stuff. It's a lot easier, like you said, to create than to generate. You end up finding that you're putting in less work creating than you would to generate a quality product to the level of somebody who is creating that product.
See what I mean? Another topic that you and I could go on for hours about. We've talked, obviously, we've talked a lot about AI here on the show because it, as you know, it's a big. I mean, when was it? A couple years ago, it prompted and 2 strikes. So
Yeah,
AI was at the head of that. So yeah, it's obviously going to be a big topic for a while. The yeah, when I say artist, I also meant throw in writers. How do you find them? What I was asking basically is how do you reach out? How do you find the new stories?
With writers right now, the only writer that I am working with is one of my friends, who has a character that I plan on introducing in book 4. But I am more so focused on once I know how book 6 will end, that's when I'll start spreading my wings as a publisher, so to speak, and looking at writers. I would love to give people writing advice. So if you need writing advice, I have no problem, like, sharing that writing advice. I'm not soliciting any stories by any stretch of the means. Um, but if you want to know when we'll start taking in writers and everything, we can have people sign up to our newsletter.
Jeffrey didn't tell me to say this. I will say this for everybody listening because I know in this audience for sure there are a lot of up and coming writers, artists, people that want to be in the industry, do their own thing. They're looking for platforms like this because, as you know, there's a lot of gatekeeping with the big name publishers and studios and whatever they want to do. So they look for things like Nexus Comics and things like that. But I always tell them, and you made it very clear, you're not soliciting original stories right now. However, I tell people, take advantage of this. When somebody who is actually doing it, Jeffrey's not sitting around, watching Netflix or whatever and like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a comic. Kind of like in my day, my album's going to drop. Yeah, 30 years later, we're still waiting for your album to drop. That's not that. Jeffrey's doing it. So he's out there. He's out in the trenches. He's doing it. So when he gives you advice, writing advice, I would listen because he knows what he's talking about.
Just to add on, for those new writers, the reality is we all have to work. The 9 to 5 will never not be needed. I work a 9 to 5 outside of this. And the unfortunate reality about this kind of work, especially when starting out, is having to do those doubles and considering it as a double. So if you're having 2 jobs to get by, it be a triple kind of thing. But it is just like going to school. a necessary sacrifice that you have to do. Time is an investment. Time is money, but not just that. It's a commodity that you'll never get back, unlike money. Is so how you spend your time is just as much as important as how you're spending your money or what you're doing to gain said money.
Yeah.
You can always commit to an 8-hour shift, or in some cases, some people's cases, a 16-hour shift, and try to put in 30 minutes on your break, instead of catching an eye, writing out beat notes. I think that that's a great way of, pushing inch by inch to get your story still written out, and while still full timing in work. And I don't think it is something that's often talked about. I think like the illusion of writing full time is that you're in a room, and sometimes this is the case. You are in a room just writing, but most cases, especially for independent people and indie authors, the reality isn't that. It's I have to go to McDonald's to, put in a shift. And while at McDonald's, if you have an idea, keep replaying it in your head. I think good ideas stick with you, bad ideas disappear. That's the method that I tend to go with. If it's an idea that repeats exactly the same way each time you're thinking about it, it's probably a good idea, or at least an actionable idea. Whether or not it's good or not, I don't want to give life advice. But I think committing yourself to doing things inch by inch is a better method than waiting for the perfect opportunity to write. And that there's no such thing.
Yeah. Well, very well said. And I've always said this also. I mean, today social media tends to warp reality, and people think that instant success is just going to come instantly. But I always say, I'll show the camera. I always say, you can have one of these, a pencil, a pen, but that doesn't make you. It's not going to make you Stephen King. Like, that's the exceptions. He can sit at his home and just write, come up with the next book, because he's Stephen King. Not all of you are going to be Stephen King, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there's that side too. One thing I was thinking about, actually, I wish I had you on the first segment that we did. We were talking about original stories. Everybody talks about, or we were talking about movies and TV shows, but it applies to everything really. When people talk about we keep getting reboots, reimaginings, the same stuff over and over again, they want quote unquote original stories. We defined what it means to us in the last segment. To you, to Jeffrey, when you yourself use the term, or you hear someone say, "We're looking for an original story," how do you define original story in 2026?
How a lot of people think original story. So there's a sweet spot. You have to know what it is. Like if we use Hollywood as an example, you have to know what it is that the people critiques are looking for. They are looking at hundreds of movies, often same. For example, a critic of romance, hundreds of movies in a week, of romance movies that have come out and everything, and it gets very cookie cutter and repeatable, and that often tarnishes a critic's critique of any one given film, and you can replace the sci-fi, the genre, if you will. And I think books are kind of no different. Fans of books are typically avid readers, whatever it is, whether it's audiobooks, comics, books that they are physically reading. Most people that are into that hobby are typically avid, and if they're not avid, they're very seldom when they have the time, kind of thing. And it's very there's a lot of parallels with that versus, I think, how the Hollywood industry works, and why like critic scores are different often than audience scores. Audience members are the seldom readers versus critic readers. Critics are the avid readers, and if you approach it that way, you need to meet that middle ground of nostalgia, which is what audience members really like, but more so, you want it to be different. You want it to be close enough to where it feels like, but not exactly like that. And that's the balance that I, you know, go for. I think any story that you can use two or more, and I lean on two franchises to explain your story, I think is a good balance. Like with my first book, it feels like X-Men meets Independence Day, or Umbrella Academy meets Independence Day. And it has that vibe. Obviously these two or three, like, stories, very, very different. Um, but finding that balance of nostalgia, because obviously stories have to be written, they have to have a plot. Plots can only have so many things for it to be a complete story. It's kind of like finding your art style. But in writing, it's finding that balance of, well, where in my perspective, from my life, can I not just tell a story, but what in my life is kind of unique in my experience of living. And I think that that's kind of where a lot of stories are, taking your personality, not just saying, well, how would I react to this, but how would I react if my personality was different? Like, there are characters like deities that I use, Loki being a perfect example, an established character. I tend to lean heavily on the Eddas, but not just the actions that the Eddas show him doing, but what it means, what kind of person it means to be, to do those kind of things, and applying that to my storytelling also.
Yeah. See, again, another topic that we could go on forever on, but your stories, not just because you said that, your stories, they do fall into the, to me at least, the original category. You guys listening, you can find out. Tell them how. Where are they available right now, the stories, if they want to read them?
nexuscomics.com.
I have a link to that on the show description. It's all on there. Now, you and I, we met at Free Comic Book Day. Are you going to be going to any conventions, events, anywhere this year?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to LA Comic Con. I didn't specify when we had spoke last time. But LA Comic Con is going to be the next one. I have to check my calendar on other conventions. I think we may be going to one later this month. What is it? The Orange County convention. I'd have to ask my wife. She's so much better with our calendar.
Yeah, I think that one's sort of newish. I think it's FanCon or something, I think it's called. That's the one you're talking about? Yeah.
Maybe. I know that we have some tickets that are already purchased, and we're going to be walking around trying to meet artists. I love networking with creatives, getting behind their mind and learning about their craft. It's always super intriguing. We had went to MagicCon that weekend right after me and you had met on Free Comic Book Day. But yeah, I'd have to check my calendar on conventions other than LA Comic Con that we'd be going to.
I'll just say you might be able to meet him at one that we're putting together later in the fall. Maybe there might be an announcement about that. But let them know
that one also.
Yeah, but let them know where website, social media, where they can follow you.
On, let's see, on Instagram, my Instagram is the.omnigenus. You can follow us also on Facebook, the Omnigenus. or on TikTok, the .omnigenus also.
Yeah, and again, just to make it easy, I'll link it up all on the. Those of you watching on video, it's probably at the bottom there, but everybody else on the show notes and show descriptions. So, Jeffrey, thank you. Great meeting you, and I'm glad you got to come on and talk about this, tell the story to the Geek Speak listeners, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. This has been a serious joy, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and supernatural. Comic books, graphic novels, ebooks, and ongoing or new series. You'll hear them all right here on the Geek Speak Show Book Club.
You will. Somebody jump in because I'm dying over here.
Emily, take over because I'm dying too.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the Geek Speak Show Book Club. So I guess I'll take charge introducing my book. Is that okay with you guys? I want to take that as a yes because nobody said anything.
From the spirit world, we say yes.
Well, actually, I'll kick off with mine because this time around I did bring a graphic novel, which is an adaptation of another book by Octavia E. Butler's Parable of the Sower. So that adaptation is done by Damien Duffy and John Jennings. It takes place what's funny is that it takes place in 2024, which is kind of weird to me reading in the book that it's like, oh, it's the future, but we've already passed 2024. But it's an apocalyptic 2024.
Wait. Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
When was it written, the book?
The book was actually written, I believe, in the 90s, 80s.
Okay.
I believe so.
Don't spoil it, but how do they see, what do they think 2024 was going to look like?
2024 is chaotic. Everybody's fighting everybody, and the world's kind of gone to another place.
How do they know? Like they had a DeLorean or something.
I was hoping for the Back to the Future version.
But honestly, it's been a really interesting book. I'm enjoying it, but I would give it to those who want to pick it up a huge trigger warning. There's a lot of without spoiling it too much, there's a lot of moments that will leave you kind of, especially the graphic novel adaptation, because it's really in your face about it visually, but I think that's more so the point. I think when you're going into something as to dissecting a book through a graphic novel sense, it's really looking into how the artist is adapting the I'm totally blanking on the word, but it's not parable. I'm totally blanking out the word that's to describe more like chapter books, word by word kind of books. But
yeah, adaptation would be the right. Yeah.
Adaptation. I know there's a word. You guys correct me on this. Everybody is probably shouting it out right now. Emily, it's this. And you're so right. But honestly, it's been such an interesting book. I think its takes on religion and what it means to be a community, I think really speaks into a lot of this kind of futuristic sense, but what we should be doing now. But yeah, I say give it a read. It's been really, really interesting read.
Speaking of a hoe, the Nerdy Navajo, what did you bring? Wait, let me guess. Is it a comic book?
Yes.
Let me guess.
Yay.
A Predator comic book.
Yes.
How did we know that?
Yes, because I have no taste outside of trying new things, especially when it comes to comic books.
Well, and I was there with you when you bought the entire stack on Free Comic Book Day weekend.
Exactly. So my book is going to be kind of tricky, Henry. I highly recommend this comic book, but good luck to all you viewers out there on trying to find it. I'm pretty sure there might be a digital version out there somewhere, and if you're lucky like me, you'll find it. But I have Predator.
Wait.
The blood. Well,
give him. Wait, is this one that you found at Frankensons?
Frankensons, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not a sponsor, but give them a plug. Frankensons. If you can't find it at a comic book shop, Frankensons may have it.
Henry, you're not supposed to tell them my spot. Now they're all going to be gone. Anyways,
Hold on. Everybody knows about Frankenstein, Shanclen, so you're not alone.
all the people in Arizona are gonna know. Anyways, so this comic book is a 2-issue miniseries. It's called Predator: The Bloody Sands of Time, and it's cool because it takes you back in time to some of the recent sightings of predators in the Vietnam War and World War I, actually, during trench warfare, which is pretty cool because if anyone knows how bloody trench warfare was in World War I, imagine just throwing a predator and all that mix. And I remember seeing a while ago that there was some rumors that was supposed to be the whole storyline with the new Predator movie that came out, Predator Badlands. Like, it was supposed to be the Badlands in World War I and II. That's what everyone thought, but lo and behold, it's a new thing. But very gory. You kids out there, I'm looking at you that are listening.
What is he pointing at us when he says that?
Yeah. You kids. This is not for you. Wait till you're 18-year-old to read this one because it's very gory and there's some explicit content.
Of course, you do know when
see.
you say that makes the kids actually want to go out and get it.
Well, Henry, this is to cover our butts to say we don't condone it. So if their parents come back on us and want to read this, we told them not to.
There's a disclaimer there.
Mm-hmm. But it's really good. If you can find it, it's really good. I have a whole stack, like how Henry mentioned. We went to Frankenstein's, and so I think I'm set for the rest of the year for book club nominations.
Yeah, no, and I was thinking actually, you're right. It was actually after Prey came out, the movie Prey came out. It was so great, everybody loved it, that they thought that the next, I guess, sequel to that would be in feudal Japan with samurai. We got a little bit of that in the animated one. What was it called? I told you about it. It's on Hulu also. But and I think there is a little bit of actually the World War II. There's a World War II pilot that's in the animated one, not Badlands. The one it came right before Badlands. It was the animated one. I forget what was it called.
How could I call my Prey of Prey? What? No, was it Prey or?
No, Prey was before that. Something Hunter.
Killer of Killers.
Yes, that was it. So it was in that. It had Vikings. It took them all over different time periods, which it was smart if you really think about it. Because imagine doing period pieces with predators. That would cost a lot of money, and so animated is the next best thing to do. And it was pretty good actually. I told you about that one. So yeah, it's what did you say this was? World War I, the one you're reading?
Yeah, World War I trench warfare.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, this one was made. Script was made by Dan Barry, and Chris Werner also did the artwork, and letters and colors were by Gail Beckett. And so this is back in February 1992 by Dark Horse Comics.
It has been a while, but if you go on if you're not there, go to the geekspeakshow.com on the website on the book club section. You will see the 2 books that they just mentioned will be there. When you go look at mine, it will be empty because I don't have one. I haven't been reading the book because I've been very, very busy. With what? With this, I have some announcements. I do have that. You might have missed a few of them as we did Free Comic Book Day and some other stuff was going on, but there's a new panel. There is a new panel that was added. Kids Can Cosplay. It's going to be with the organization called Kids Can Cosplay. You've probably seen them at WonderCon. We did an interview with them a couple years ago, or last year, I think it was. It's up on our YouTube if you haven't seen it. And there've been other local cons and events here in Southern California. Kids Can Cosplay. They're going to be at the Geek Speak Expo talking about freshwater bass fishing. Now, cosplaying with kids. What else would they be talking about? Will there be a demo with cosplaying kids? I don't know. You're going to have to go and find out for yourself. Speaking of kids, that was another announcement. Well, kids under 12, not kids at heart. You have to be an actual kid. Kids under 12 are free. You don't have to pay anything to get into the Geek Speak Expo. However, you can't just send your kid. We're not a babysitting service. They've got to be accompanied by somebody over 18 who does have a badge. So kids are free. But like I said, you can't just drop them off. I was like, here, you guys take care of them for the day. No. We don't do that. We don't do that here. Like in Wakanda, we don't do that there. So they must be accompanied by a paying adult or guardian to get in there. Also, 2 new badge types were announced. First, because many of the panels that we're going to have there, they're a great way for local art or film students to get some great advice and especially build your network. You can meet some new people and working people in the industry, build your network, and who knows, next year you may be up on a panel talking about your new thing that you're doing. But it all can start there at the Geek Speak Expo. We have announced a student rate just for local students. It's only $20, but you must show your current student ID. It can't be one from 1982. If you have one, cool, but that's not going to get you in. You got to be a current student in this millennium to be able to take advantage of the student rate for badges. So that'll be at the check-in at the door. If you don't have a student ID, well, you're just not coming in. That's all. We're not going to feel sorry for you and say, no, go ahead and come in. No, again, times are tough. You've got to have a student ID. If not, you got to pay full price when you get your badge. The other thing, these badges are complimentary, is press coverage. We're gonna open it up to local press, and it can be online press. It could be newspapers. Yes, there are some still, and it could also be like what we do, podcasts, YouTube channels. All the qualifications, all that stuff, the application, they're all up on the geekspeakshow.com. There's a little button on top that says the Geek Speak Expo. You click it, it'll take you there. So all of that. Oh, by the way, that press badge thing, that also applies to, again, local colleges around here, because I know some of them have newspapers, some of them have journalism students who want to report on local events. Well, this is a good one. So do that, and you'll be able to complimentarily, I just made up a word, I think, attend the Geek Speak Expo, and all of that on the geekspeakshow.com. Links are everywhere. There's no way you can miss it. So all of that coming this fall. We will be there. All 3 of us. We have decided. Well, Emily and I were going to be there anyway, but after Free Comic Book Day, he had so much fun with all you new Geek Speak listeners, that Shanclen said, you know what? I'm going to ask the spirits to guide me, and I will make my way that weekend to downtown Fullerton. He will be here for the Geek Speak Expo. Why wouldn't you want to be there? Everything, again, on the geekspeakshow.com. So that's it for this one. What?
I just want to say one thing, Henry.
Goodbye?
No, I'm not going to share my snacks with anybody there. I'll be there, but my snacks are mine. So if there's any snacks, I'm going to have a section. It's just going to be for me.
And that's a lot of snacks that he's going to need. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, that's it for this week.
Wait.
What?
I was going to say, did we mention Anacon this weekend?
No.
Where you can catch us. Oh.
Yes. No. You tell him. You brought it up. You tell him.
Well, everybody, if you would like to catch me and Henry this weekend, we'll come down to Anaheim, to the Anaheim Public Library, where you can come and see us from, I believe it's 10 to 2.
4.
That's correct. 4. 10 to 4. You can come and see us at the Anaheim Public Library for Anacon this up-and-coming weekend on the 16th.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll link it up on the what do you call it? The show notes and all that too. But this is why we 3 are the team, because when I don't remember things, Emily thinks for me, and Shanclen just goes on a smoke break. Oh yes, I remember this thing. This. Oh, one more thing. This. So that's what makes us the perfect team. Mm-hmm. So coming back next week and watch this. We worked on our communication.
We'll speak more geek.
Speak more geek.
Yeah.
Practice a little bit more. We'll see you next week.
While you wait for the next episode, follow the show on Instagram at Geeksy. You can watch event coverage on the show's YouTube channel, Geek Speak Videos, and also on TikTok at The Geek Speak Show. Learn more about the show's upcoming live event, the Geek Speak Expo, at the official website, thegeekspeakshow.com. The Geek Speak Show will return in Avengers Doomsday. No, actually they won't. They'll be back next week to speak more geek.
The Geek Speak Show was produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.